Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. Today we are fortunate to have Meenakshi with us. So, we are going to have, as a part of our continuous learning series through this webinar, today we are going to have a fireside chat conversation with Meenakshi Goswami. I'll just give her introduction a little later. But what is this? What is the topic for today? So, today's topic is artificial intelligence in healthcare, benefits and the risks with respect to patients' health, right? So now question is, what are we going to discuss about today? First of all, why are we here? Like when I talked about that, what artificial intelligence is going to do in the healthcare, right, in the healthcare area, right, and the life science area, the first thing what comes to our mind, we need doctors, right? So what Shubho and Minakshi are doing, they are consultant, they are right technologist, right? What are they going to? I mean, how are they going to add the value out here? Now, guys, now things are becoming the industry or the capability boundaries are blurring right very fast. So whatever be the industry possible, right? You cannot just sustain with the domain capability. You need the kind of technologies to support you, especially in this disruptive marketplace or the disruptive area when things are changing so fast, right? You cannot be master on everything, so you need to take support from other things. So like we need the domain knowledge from the doctors, we need the domain knowledge from the healthcare technician, we need the domain knowledge from some of the patient, and artificial intelligence is something which is completely data driven. Now AI promises, right, on the healthcare perspective or the life science perspective, that earlier disease detection, personalized treatment, and the greater efficiency. But it also raises concern about the data privacy, ethical use, and how doctors and patients can adapt to this shift. And this is one of the very important area because it directly deals with human life. And there are a lot of positives what we are seeing these days, and also right there are a lot of failure stories, right, that we are going to explore. So recently I was reading one of the article where IBM Watson was kind of commenting or predicting that they will be able to do a lot of cancer detection, early cancer detection, right? But that did not happen properly. And similar, there are a lot of cases available. Sometimes, like we are asking, like many people are asking ChatGPT. In fact, in the conference that I was talking about, so some of our great leaders were giving some examples of how many, I mean, the people like us who are been influenced these days, right? It is coming to us as an influence that okay, go ahead and check with ChatGPT, go ahead and check with Gemini, or go ahead and check with Copilot or Grok, and try to get the medicine accordingly. So question is, are we going to blindly rely on them, right? And I have many doctor friends. In fact, a couple of weeks back, one of my doctor friends called me and said that, Shubhabrata, can you just give me some of the right recent tools which we can use? I said, okay, what is your purpose? No, no, many people are using it. Many doctors are using it. Can you just share like some of the tools which I can probably use and how I can get trained? So it is a question in not only in the ethical perspective. So there are three different lenses that we are going to touch upon today. One is from the patient's perspective, another one is from the right integrity, ethical, responsible AI users perspective, and another is from the doctor's perspective. So without further delay, I'm extremely fortunate to have Meenakshi today with us. So let me just give a brief introduction about her. So Meenakshi is a Salesforce consultant working with Concentrix with an understanding of business processes and a proven ability to leverage Salesforce to achieve organizational goals. She is having expertise in sales cloud, service cloud, and marketing cloud implementation, ability to translate business requirement into effective Salesforce configurations and customizations, data migration. Now she is holding over 13 years of experience that includes pre-sales, right, POC development, RFP documentation, BPD building, right, business analysis, solution designing, implementing, and optimizing Salesforce solution for various industries, including retail, healthcare, automobile manufacturing, and high tech, etc., etc. So now you can understand the kind of vastness she is having on the different domains. So we are fortunate enough to have her, and moving forward, right, I'm sure like we are going to have her in various other panel discussion as well. So with these in quick introduction with Meenakshi, let's get started. So Meenakshi, let's first focus on our first area, right, of the discussion, that is from the patient's experience perspective. Now, uh, the first thing, a very straightforward question, if I try to set the context. Now, patients often ask, right, what is there in it for us, right? What does AI really mean for me? How can I get benefited out of, right, using AI? So, can you just share some of the direct benefits that AI brings to the patient care perspective? Over to you.
Thank you for this nice and generous introduction, Shubhabrato. I'm kind of flattered. Yes, to answer your question, yes, from the patient's view, we if we consider ourselves as a patient and we reach out to a doctor or a healthcare facility, then what kind of AI help we get? We get a faster detection by as the doctor or the facility is using AI tools. We can get more, risk free, or if we say that there are the risks in our detection, then that can be detected earlier. That can be the resolutions to find out and mitigate those risks. The risks that those can be detected earlier. Then based on my genetic data, my lifestyle choices, the personalized treatment a doctor can suggest me, that can also be introduced using AI. And mostly as all these benefits we are getting with the help of AI, the doctor is having much more time to deal with the patient, so that reduces my waiting time. So in these several ways. And of course, from the country type of country we are from, the affordability cost is a major concern. So as AI is taking care of a lot of automations, so thereby it is reducing our cost of affording healthcare in a great way. So I can say that from a patient's perspective, there are many ways we can look up to AI as a friend.
Sorry, I was talking on mute. So nice point, nice introduction, right, to the context, Minaki. Now, you touched upon like early detection a couple of times. Now we all know that in the different type of disease, early detection is the very important thing, especially let's say heart attack, stroke, right? We all talk about the golden hours, etc., etc. Now, and we know that like there are many people out here using a lot of Fitbit, right? A lot of different type of watches, etc. And we are trying to do all these preventive measures to make sure that okay, we are pretty much aware of how are our vitals working, right? Whether we are right doing all the checks and balances, but still accidents do happen, and there are many people who are right facing difficulty or they are kind of passing away. I mean, they are not able to detect the things right properly on time, and they are facing difficulty, and they are not able to reach out to the doctors on the right time, and that's how the problem starts happening. So from that perspective, if I consider the diagnosis is right always life saving, early diagnosis or early detection. So can AI actually detect the diseases earlier or more accurately than the human doctors, or it is just a kind of hype at this point? What is your opinion there?
No, to a certain extent, these are true. Suppose there are AI-driven radiological tools. Suppose those tools are scanning images of MRI or CT scans.
Mm-hmm.
So by scanning images of CT scan, there are tiny tumors,
Mm-hmm.
or that may a human eye may miss, but the precision using precision engineering, AI can detect those tumors. Then the role of the doctor comes into picture. They can validate whether they are benign or malignant, or they are at all to be worried about. But those initial head start that was required, probably the human eye might have missed, and that might be critical for the patient. If and when AI detects those MRIs, and initially it can stop the stroke. It can detect, predictive measurements can be taken that there is a possibility of having a stroke in the patient's body. That
Right.
just by clinical judgment, the doctor could have not been able to detect the same. So these helps have come into play, the role of an assistant to the doctor, that and there he can take a predictive measurement for the patient, where a great deal of time could, as you said, the golden hour
Right.
can be achieved in terms of the patient care, and from the patient's perspective it's a huge deal.
Right. Now, yeah, I like the word you used called the precision medicine. So beyond detection, we hear a lot about this precision medicine, but generally, let's say we all are asking the same question, right, to the co-pilot or to the chat Gemini, right, without giving our own prompt. Let's say we are not that very good in the prompt, right? We are just asking a generic question. So my point is, and but if all of us are different, genetically different, right, biologically different, or we have some different ways, right, different behavior, etc., etc., different health habit, different, and many other food habit and many other things. So how does AI help to make treatment more tailored, right, to the individual patient? Because when you go to a doctor, even if he's treating two patients, right, two consecutive patient with the same disease, but it may not be always the same medicine he's prescribing, right? One may be of age 15, another may be of age 55. Both are coming with a fever. So doctor can suggest that specialized, that tailored treatment for both the patients. So how can AI bring that tailoring mechanism when they are treating the patient?
Absolutely. So when AI is there with the doctor, probably I have reached out to a doctor and that doctor is having access to AI.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has the AI has the ability uh, to analyze the patient's genetic data, lifestyle choices,
Right.
and also the clinical context that
Correct.
the doctor has provided with. Now, deciding all these factors, the right medicine for the right patient will be suggested by AI. But again, there can be numerous options, right? If I give an example, like two people have come with the same fever complaint to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, doctor has received suppose numerous antibiotic or antiviral options from AI.
Mm-hmm.
Now, doctors, there the role of the doctor's clinical judgment comes into picture, because he knows that exactly what medicine, probably he has the suggestion given or received from AI, that these 1, 2, 3, 4 are the medicines that would be prescribed for these two patients. But exactly what medicine to be prescribed to which patient, that relies on the clinical eye and the clinical judgment of the doctor. And that is the reason why we always say that AI is not the ultimate or rather ultimate solution for the patient, but it may be an assistance, or maybe the ultimate help for the doctors who has the ability to judge.
Correct.
So there
Correct.
the precision engineering
Right.
comes.
Brilliant. So, what I can understand from your point and for everyone, that all of us, if I fire the same statement, right, same symptom, will get a genetic response from the AI LLM, right?
Absolutely.
But when we go to the doctor, he will listen to us. He may be using AI, but may not be using the LLM, but he may be using the AI agent, where
Yes.
he can feed in, right, those personalized information. And
Yes.
because of those personalized informations, because we are being a patient, we may not be illiterate. So we may be just writing a novice statement, novice prompt to the AI, and we'll get a generic response. Again, with all due respect to that, those who know the prompt engineering, like they can get a better response, of course. But we cannot expect everyone to know like that. So here we go to the doctor. So life is changing in that way. The doctor will now understand your symptom, like as you said, like he will ask a lot of contextual questions, and based on that he will get the information, and then he will probably feed the information to the AI agent, right, to get the analysis. Okay, fantastic. Right. Thank you so much. Now, again, if I come to the human touch perspective, because ultimately AI is whatever AI can do, but AI cannot replace the empathy part of it, right? The way doctor can see the patient, feel the pain of the patient, right, and treat the patient, AI won't understand. AI will just take it as a kind of communication is coming from as an input to me. He's not a considering that as a patient. He's just considered that as an input, and it will kind of right send the response. So so healthcare is though we talk about data, right? It's all data, but it's not. Healthcare is only one subject probably which is not healthcare teaching, right? These are the subjects which are not only dealing with the data, but it's all about empathy, correct? So some patients worry AI may make care less personal, right, or the personal. How do you respond to that? So that additional care. So we believe that okay, if I get the same medicine from my friend, right, I can take that medicine, but still, it's a perception when people's mind. When I see the doctor, half of my disease is gone, right? That's a common perception, right? So, how do you respond to that?
Uh, I rather differ from the general belief that it makes a person, the human touch or the care is missed.
Hmm.
Rather, I would say that when AI is taking care, half the job of a doctor, it's making the life of a doctor easier. That
Right.
means it is making the doctor more available towards his or her patients. Like suppose recently I went to a doctor who was using AI tool to generate prescriptions. When he heard my problems, he just fed the data into the system and giving AI that moment to generate the prescription. And that moment he has received to listen more from his patient. Okay, that is, and there I am finding a more human touch. Like my doctor is interacting more with me. Generally, when he is busy doing his own stuff, then he might not get, maybe he is, maybe he wants, but he can't. But here, when AI is taking some of the automated routine tasks, there the doctor gets the time to deal with the patient more, can listen to the patient more. And we know that when as a patient, when we can share our problems with doctor, as you said, absolutely correctly, that seeing the doctor heals half of our
Healing is done.
diseases, right?
Correct.
When we know that we can share our problems with the doctor, then we know that he is all aware and he can treat us better. So AI is giving us and the doctors that window. So I think it's rather the opposite of what the general belief is.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that insight. Now let's move into the another lens, right? The ethical part of it, like which is comprising of data regulation and ethic. Now let's first touch upon data privacy concern. Again, I would like to come up with a very common myth that we all have. Don't hide anything from doctors and the lawyers, right? Always be very open, right, to them, transparent to them. Otherwise, right, you will not get the best treatment or the best service from them. But can we really trust AI in the same way? I believe that there is always this perception that curiosity, that skepticism in mind, that AI relies heavily, since AI relies heavily on the patient data. Naturally, it's the people's worry, is their health information really safe or it is going to be shared with anyone? So how to deal with that?
It is a general and valid concern, I would say, because data privacy across the globe is a huge concern. And when it comes, in terms of a human, a personal data, like in for European countries and for other places, when we need to seek data, we need to sign on, probably tick a checkbox that we need to access those data. And those are not hugely implemented in our country, but a law is in place which is being made to enforce the encryption, to enforce the governance on the AI data. But yes, data breaching and is that could be devastating if there is a data breaching, but there is a possibility. And honestly, I believe that there the consent taking of from a patient's and doctor's point is very important. These are in process but not in place properly, which is a concern. But I believe that in our near future, this will be handled and taken care properly.
Thank you, Meenakshi. Now, another challenge is the fairness, right? So we know that like sometimes, and it is always like a biasness, right? Fairness, right? These are kind of inherent challenges, right, with AI continuously facing. So typically, like if we go to the remote area, correct? So we may not be having too much of data coming from there. But though I can tell you, if you go to a government hospital, you will always see there are majority of the patients who are coming from the villages, etc. But their infrastructure may not be that good that they can fit these data right to the area. So again, there is a perception that the students who are coming out of the right government medical college, right, doctor government medical college, they are better doctors as compared to the private. It's a myth though, but still there is a perception because they can treat the patient, right? They can handle different type of patients, right? And here we are, a single doctor maybe treating 10 or 20 patients a day. They are actually touching 100 to 200, right, patients on an everyday basis. So question is, right, on that fairness perspective, could AI unintentionally widen the healthcare inequality? What is your opinion there?
Unfortunately, yes. AI is more, so far, it is more trained and more relying on the urban and rather more wealthier population. That is more because of the accessibility and the usability of AI is more confined. I'll not say absolutely, but definitely more confined towards the, urban population. But to mitigate this issue, the data feed in the AI, when the data is making, we are making the data available towards the common people, when they are accessing them from AI to treat people, to mitigate this digital divide, the inclusiveness from both the rural and urban people should be validated, and then this balance should be made. But so far, I don't think that is absolute in picture, but we sure can hope the same to be happen in future.
Excellent. Now, the next point which comes to my mind is the transparency and the trust. Now, sometimes we all know that, forget about AI. When we go to a doctor and we have a simplest of the doubt about the treatment he or she is suggesting, we always say, I'm not very sure about this treatment. Let's take a second opinion, right? We keep telling that. So my question is, where trust is the key, how can patients and doctors feel confident and rely in the AI-driven recommendation? Because if something goes wrong, right, no one can, right, save the patient. So how can we deal with that?
Yes, transparency is extremely vital. When a patient is reaching out to a doctor, the doctor should be informing the patient and should take the consent that AI being used to support his decisions, and that must, that must not dictate. Rather, that must be discussed with the patient, and then if this transparency could be made, then the trust, because patient knows the doctor, they don't know the AI sources. So to build the trust, I think if this discussion is made beforehand, and then the treatment could be facilitated in a more trustworthy way.
Excellent. So Shubhra asked two valid questions, so we'll take those questions little later. Thanks, Shubhra, for sending that. Now, you spoke about regulatory authority, right? So finally, what role? This is our last question on this segment. Finally, what role do regulations play in ensuring AI is safe and ethical in the healthcare?
Yes. AI information should be treated as similar to the drugs that we consume. When we receive uh, as the end user, when we receive a drug, we know that it has undergone severe and several clinical trials before making it available to the market. Similarly, the AI information, which is ultimately being consumed as one of the suggestions before the treatment starts, this should also undergo the algorithm of making the information available, should undergo huge rigorous testing so that it can be safe, it can be unbiased, it should not be available from a certain when a doctor is referring to an information, he doesn't know if the information is coming from Harrison, the Bible of medicine, or it is coming from probably a journal which has been released from probably an underprivileged or maybe an unethical source. So there, the screening, the regulatory authority, the rigorous validation of the deployment of the data should be screened and should before making it available to the end users, should be there. It is in progress, it is in place, but maybe not to the fullest. That is why in the beginning you said that there are a lot of instances where the faulty data has been received,
Right.
and people is suffering. But still we can always hope for the better, because things are moving in progress for the betterment.
Right. And this is one of the area which is still evolving. It's not like a fintech or any other industry, right? Since it is kind of directly dealing with the human life. So they cannot take just a kind of 1% of the chance. Like sometimes we talk about right, Six Sigma, right? So we cannot even allow that Six Sigma kind of failure also in this situation. We need to make sure that whatever data is coming, as you said, like whether those are screened by this Harrison and other things, right? So if there are, right, I'm not a kind of doctor or medical expert, but I'm sure like that kind of precision or that kind of checkpoints are being right applied out there. Okay, thank you so much. Now, coming to the last but the most interesting section, we know that we are not experts here, but we are just sharing, right, our point of view. I mean, maybe in our future discussion, I would like to have a panel of doctors, right, where they can give us more real-time insight about how they are thinking about their future, right? How are they? Now, see, surgery is a different thing, because surgery they are using, right, robotics, right? So that's a different skill they are doing. But whenever it comes to the kind of clinical investigation and other things, right? So there is a different ball game altogether. Now, coming to the first question, which is the kind of which we typically call adoption anxiety. So many clinicians, right, are curious about AI but feel very overwhelmed. Now, how can doctors start using AI in daily practice without disruption? So in a simple language, they are also they are also kind of curious, they are about anxious like us, right? In my current role, right? So who are best placed at this point? Those who are juniors, who are actually doing the coding. So they know that what is their role. But people like us who are more than, let's say, 20 years of experience, who are not into coding right now, so we are a lot of time, we are anxious, we are skeptical about our future. How can everyone is saying that, okay, you have to apply AI in your way of working to make it more optimized, making it more efficient. But no one is telling how, right? So from that similar perspective, I have been talking to different doctors as well who are my friends, and they are also saying that Shubhabrata, how can we use it? How can we understand that? Is there any data that this is giving us so much of good result, etc., etc.? So how can doctors start using AI in the daily practice without much disruption? What is the safest way? What are your opinion there?
Yes, of course, it's a new technology, so it takes some time, good amount of time to get adaptive to the technology. But I would suggest who are yet to go ahead with it, rather start small. Okay,
Mhm.
so there are many AI powered tools, radiological tools, which, as I said earlier, also that which screens the images, CT scan images, MRI images. Start with them. So there you don't have to play much role as a doctor. Rather, you can depend more on the tool, and then once the reports are out, then you can do your clinical judgment. So you don't have to be, yes, of course, AI literacy is there. You have to know that where to start, where to stop, and what to take, what not to take.
Mhm.
But of course, then again, I said that I met a doctor who's using AI to generate his prescriptions. So
Mhm.
that is actually reducing his paperworks and
Right.
giving more time to interact with their patients. So these are small steps, baby steps that they can take in the beginning, and then as AI is also evolving, so there are a lot more to come. Then we can go forward for the bigger steps.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Like some of the repetitive things, right? So let's say if I like you brought a good reference of radiologists. So they may need to, let's say, an X-ray, right, kind of doctor, like a radiologist who is kind of screening thousands of X-ray plates, right? And he has to write all the reports also. But what AI can help them, right? So for the trivial cases, right, where there is no symptom, no challenges, etc., those things he need not to write again, right? Those can be auto-generated whenever there is nothing. So and we are always sure, and this can be again from a data-driven perspective, like from the past 10, 30 days or maybe 1 year, how many such cases on a daily basis, like which are generic and which are kind of right more critical, and they can only focus on, let's say, out of the 1,000, if there are only 25 cases which is critical, maybe out of that 10 cases which are super critical. So I remember in Kolkata, right, there is a very famous diagnostic center. I don't know how many of you are aware of it, called Roy and Trivedi. So in our school days, I now can relate those things. So Dr. Roy used to sit in a chamber, and some people like who are kind of getting, based on that initial report which is coming from the technician, whenever there is something serious, because he is a good doctor as well, so whenever there was something critical report coming up, then the Dr. Roy was calling the patient, like the person who was kind of coming to take the report. He used to bring that person in that chamber and explain the situation. And now I can very well relate these things. So whenever something critical comes up, right, which AI cannot detect, or even if AI can detect, but AI cannot diagnose the real problem, where actual domain knowledge comes into picture, where these, right? So it's a good blend of technology and the domain knowledge, right,
Yes.
which can actually help them to take this forward. Thank you so much for bringing that point up. So next point is on the learning curve. Now, doctors often ask, what exactly should we learn, right, to work with AI? Do they need to become a tech expert? Like, this is a very common question, right? Sometimes we also think, do we need to start learning Python and start doing that coding? So what actually going to be, right, their learning curve? Any thoughts around that?
No. The way engineers are making these AI powered tools, it is, so easy to use that it can be, that is the goal of the engineers, that we make our tools AI powered, but we should make it available and usable for the people who are absolutely layman, like has no idea about the AI and anything. They just use the benefit out of it. So as a doctor or as a technician, anyone from the medical fraternity who's using the AI powered tool can use the system, can use, be it a software, be it a hardware, radiological tools, or pathological tools, whatever it is, they can just use the system without even, learning anything about it. But yes, the AI literacy, the concept should be learned. For especially for the doctors to to a certain extent, like if I give you an example, like
Mm-hmm.
through precision engineering, suppose a person is having a lump on his body,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and he has undergone a test,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a CT scan or any other X-ray, and in the X-ray images, the lump was found out. And AI is saying, see, you have something like that. It can be cancerous, it can be malignant, not malignant, whatever it is, but there that is. So if we don't go to the doctor, if we don't if the doctor is only relying on the statement that AI has made, even without his clinical, implementing his clinical eye or his medicinal expertise, if he only relies on the statement, that might not lead to a correct path, because that lump may be a very small, in our body, we find lumps on our hand or what, on any part of the body, but that may not be relevant. But we are spending thousands of rupees on that, trying to detect if we are having cancer or something else, doing the biopsy and or not. But there with the proper guidance, proper knowledge of the doctor, he or she can decide that no, this is not at all required to go for a biopsy. You can leave it here. It's just useless thing. If yes, if there is something big, then the clinical eye can detect it immediately. But other than that, this AI literacy, that how much to rely on the data and what not to take, that is something the doctor has to decide and recommend.
Excellently articulated. Thank you so much. Now, finally, like we are coming to the kind of end of the discussion, our last but one question. Some doctors worry about AI could undermine their authority with the patient. How valid is that concern? Now, let me give a little bit of context to that. Now, people are continuously watching, patients are watching, the doctor is using, after hearing them out, doctors are using the AI agent. And they have a kind of common point in mind. Why should I give so much of fees to the doctor if I can also use the kind of AI agent, right? And can, in fact, the hospitals can also think in the same way, especially the nursing home. Why should I be giving so much of money to the doctors, right? Instead, we can hire or we can get these AI agent. We can just put some technicians, some diploma doctors or something, who can just use the AI agent and can give the medicine to the doctor. So how dangerous, right, is that, and how valid is that concern?
Okay, so you have asked kind of two questions. One is how confident doctors should be accepting AI, and
losing their authority, right? Losing their
yes,
authority.
And how far patients should trust AI. To answer your question, I think doctors should consider AI as their assistant, as their friend. A doctor probably have a degree, a certain degree of knowledge. Probably he is aware of 10, 12, 50 medicines regarding a particular disease. But AI is a feed, a source of data. AI is supplying maybe X more, those 50 plus X type of medicines, suggesting these medicines to the doctor. So doctor is having the pull of 50 plus X number of medicines, which maybe on top of their head while treating a patient might not be available. So AI is an assistant, it's an augmentation to the knowledge what doctor has. So nothing to worry about, because it is a help, additional help that you are seeking right on the go while treating the patient. And from the patient's point of view, I mentioned it earlier as well, that you cannot trust a machine over human intelligence.
Correct.
Especially when a doctor has learned his medicine for number of years. He has those intelligence, he has those capabilities to treat you. You are given a suggestion of 5, 6 antibiotics or antivirals for your fever, but you don't know what to pick. You don't even know whether you should go for antiviral or antibiotic, but the doctor knows what to prescribe you. Okay, right. Even if the antibiotics are required, that should it be a small term based, should it be a long term based, that can only be decided by a doctor. So have faith on your doctor, and doctor knows what to do, what not to do. So the usual trust that we have on our doctors should only be strengthening by use of AI and not less.
Excellent, excellent. That's a very powerful statement. But the last but not the least, the most important question that comes on the accountability. If the patient dies, who is accountable for that? Doctor just cannot get away saying that, oh, I took the information from the AI agent. So who are we going to hold? I mean, who are we going to keep, whether to keep the doctor responsible or the AI agent responsible? So who is to be held responsible in this situation?
I'm really very sorry to say that doctor is the one who is whole responsible, because from a doctor's point of view, and I'm sure everyone who's in the medicine fraternity, they know that they can't quote Google information or an AI information. If something, any negative impact happens, they can refer to a book, they can refer to a text saying that I have quoted this, I have taken this reference, and in terms of this reference I have suggested some medicines. But standing in a quote, they can never say that I have referred to AI, and I don't know that from which source that information has come, but I still have gone for it and then given the medicine to the patient. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but there, as I said, that the clinical eye is a kind of a filter, that what information is coming and what is given there, the filter called the doctor stands, and the patient has reached out to you, but not the AI for their treatment. So you will always be whole responsible for whatever happens to the patient, good or bad.
Thank you so much. Great. So can you just look into the questions, which were asked by Shubhra? Can you just go to the chat? How can healthcare organizations ensure compliance with regulations like GDPR and HIPAA when deploying AI systems that process sensitive patient data? And so first this one, and how do you balance the need of the large data set to train the AI model with the obligation to protect patient privacy and the confidentiality?
Data set to train AI model application pay. Yes, that is the point where we talked about the regulatory authorities, and the robust governance. I believe that in fact we have talked this much before also, that there are rules, there are laws which are coming in 2025-26, which are working on AI, that the information source is being validated. Like suppose the information, there is a journal which has been published to dictate, or rather to decide a particular set of medicines which has been which a doctor can prescribe, but the source is not probably from a very unethical way. Probably a medicine company has published it, paid for it. So these governances should be there and are there. The laws are coming into picture where they'll validate that from which source it has come and how unbiased this is, how safe it is. I'll not say it is 100% into place. Correct. But yes, these are in process and in progress. And of course, I mean, not today, but in near future, we would say we would see a great deal about the laws enforcing these data, so that we can consume whatever ethical it is only. But yes, of course, the unethical, habits are there to feed data, and that is why you should trust your doctors more than trusting AI.
Correct. So a similar question, on since we need a kind of large data set, but at the same time, then how can we patient privacy and confidentiality? Let me just take a stab on that question, if you allow me, Meenakshi.
Yes, please.
So the point here is, Shubhra, it's a valid point, and both the questions are kind of interrelated. So in the Kolkata conference also there was a tool introduced, right, by Aruna. I know she was there, Meenakshi was there in the same room. So in fact they were calling it as a kind of, they were taking a lot of our personalized information. Based on that, they are giving us, and they call it as a large behavioral model, right? Instead of calling it as a large language model, they are calling it as a large behavioral model. So that is one way of it. So they are taking care of the data privacy. In fact, I asked the same question, like the kind of question that you asked, that how can we ensure that my data point, they are looking for my all my information, all my private information, my banking information, education information, where is the security of it? Correct? How can I ensure that my data is going to be secured and not going to anywhere else? And somehow, like, she could not answer, but she was saying, yeah, we are taking care of it, etc., etc. But the point here is, sometimes, as we know, that it is this challenge is always everywhere. Forget about AI. If I keep AI aside for some time, after the GDPR, we cannot even access the production data, but still we are doing the testing, right, with the production lookalike data before going to production. So initially, when GDPR came in, we were thinking that okay, we will not be able to proceed further, correct? But somehow we managed. We came up with some, I would not say exactly test data, but replicated production data, almost similar sort of data, basically what we call synthetic data or mask data or stub kind of stuff, which can at least help us to create that simulated environment. Now, how? But still, it was a software, but it is a human life, right? Here, we need to be a little bit more, I would say, more serious and more focused. So we cannot just take any chance to create the test data, right, which can put the patient's life at risk, like as she rightly mentioned. But at the end of the day, the doctor can be held responsible who is blindly relying on that information. So still there is no right. We know the approach, we know the challenges, we know what is going to happen and what can be the right way. But if you ask me, still it is in process, still it is evolving, right? We are trying to, and that is one of the reason why still healthcare we do not have yet a concrete solution. Like I was giving an example of IBM Watson, and there are many such examples also available, right? I was reading some of the articles yesterday and day before, and we were seeing still there are a lot of research going on, because so much of unit test cases are available, and you cannot really replicate, right, all those situations, right, to make it more confident. So it is still there, it is still getting evolved. But yeah, we can say that from last 2 years where we were there and where we are today, we have made a huge improvement, right, from that perspective. That's what we can say. Any other question from anyone?
I do have one more.
Please.
Yeah, so regarding coming to the learning part, so how do we address the risk of de-skilling among the healthcare professionals as AI takes over?
Okay.
De-skilling.
De-skilling, okay.
Yeah, as AI takes over the routine diagnostic tasks. Because, for the junior doctors, handling all those routine tasks, maybe gathering some experience for them. So are they not going to lose that experience if we hand it over to AI?
Right. So I think you already answered some bit of it, that undermining their capability. I think the last but one question, it was on that. Maybe Meenakshi would like to just take a stab on that. So, and I think Shujoy is also having a question. Sorry, go ahead, Meenakshi. After that, if I need to add, I'll add something.
Sure. So, as I said that don't consider AI as a replacement. AI cannot replace human intelligence. I mean, even the junior doctors we are talking about, they have learned medicine for 7-8 years, and now they have come to the business, and obviously they are practicing over the patients. But I'll not say that the AI will replace their tasks. The tasks that we are referring to is, like AI powered radiological tools, or AI or robotics, which are there in the surgery business, which is actually helping the making the operation precise. When even when a junior doctor is is performing his or her job, then he or she is interacting with the patient while the AI is taking care of the business of creating the prescription. But what data should be fed into the prescription, that is the role of the doctor.
Correct.
Doctor knows what to put in the prescription, AI doesn't know. But AI is only doing a job of a staff. Maybe when rather if we talk about the hospitals, and there is a chunk of data, a chunk of patients, and I know from a very close person of mine who's into government hospital, he says that he only gets even lesser than 2 minutes to deal with a patient, because
Correct.
he has to listen to the patient, he has to prescribe the medicines. Now he has to even bother the what medicines are available in the government hospitals. But if AI takes care of all those problems, that these are the medicines available, now you can only prescribe from them, these are the details, so doctor can use those full 2 minutes to deal with the patient, even if that is a junior doctor or a senior doctor. So I believe there is AI will help you even making your relationship better with your in terms of a doctor, making it life better for the doctor and patients, not worse rather.
Good. I'll take the question coming from Subhash, but Sujay, I know they are waiting in the airport, so I would like to first take Sujay's question. Sujay, go ahead.
Hey, Subrata, sorry. My question is a bit, like it's not a question, but I would just like to add what Meenakshi said, because I come from the healthcare industry.
Please.
So we are facing this particular challenge that we have. And the reason what I think I totally correlate with what Meenakshi said. And also one of the other person who's asked the question about junior doctors getting impacted and descaling. These are something that will never happen. The other thing is that in our country, because this AI impact depends on the demography.
Correct.
But if you see EU in terms of a European region, when we were discussing with NHS directly, so they had a mandate, and that is a part of their law, that every data has to be encrypted, whether it's at rest or as a transit. That means no one other from between the doctor and the patient, nobody has access to the data. Even the company, like our company, which is actually creating those data, will not have any access to it. But the kind of that nomenclature or that kind of regulation is not available in India. To be very honest, we even have a law. Today, if a doctor prescribe, what we say is it's ethical. Okay, doctor can leverage AI and can prescribe a medicine or do better treatment. But if a doctor truly relies on it, let's say, and he provides you something, and there is a kind of, I would say there is a kind of negative impact on the health, there's no way that we can go back and fight against it.
Absolutely.
Because there's no law that says that you can go and file a case against this kind of issue. So the regulation is where it sits with not only, I would say it's a shared responsibility between a patient, a doctor, as Meenakshi already mentioned, that it has to be a consent that has to be taken care of. In EU, they have a separate regulatory firms which does auditing. And this is very important. So we need to have those kind of checks and balances in place. And ultimately, it's more often, because see, you're dealing with somebody's life. Even if it's a medicine, so it's not something that I write a piece of code and if something goes wrong, my production is broken. And I can fix it. But yes, it is dealing with life.
We can deal with the save one, but it is not a save one means it's the right patient's life.
Yeah, exactly. So here what happens is, because we face this particular issue, the regulations are so strong that at the end of the day today, if I have to use AI, and we are definitely using it, but the kind of use cases that we use is very different. You can do a POC with a lot of AI, but when you move into production, it takes years. Because that kind of, as you discussed, right? If my data is not right, how would I manage saying that, okay, what I'm prescribing is the right thing? So here it's more about ethical. If a doctor is leveraging AI, it should be in a printed format, or it should be upfront told that, okay, he's leveraging it. Leveraging is a good term, other than saying that totally relying on it.
Right.
We as engineers also leverage AI, but if we totally depend on it without, because somebody becoming a doctor, to be very honest, it's a noble profession. Somebody has given that much of years of experience to it. And as Meenakshi said, yeah, it increases the time of a doctor's interaction with the patient to understand, and you can use AI. Something that our company does is we have automated, or we have used AI to write the prescription for the customers. When I say prescription, it's not something that doctor writes. It's just that the transcript, in the sense when a doctor is speaking to the customer, everything is recorded and the prescription is written by itself. Doctor doesn't have to spend the 2 minutes to write something.
Wonderful.
So that is something they are working on, because it is totally on doctor's thing. We are not saying the doctor will do the treatment based on AI. So this is what it is. So I would say, yeah, the regulation is a very, very important factor out here. Right now in India, we don't have one. And tomorrow, if things goes, is a treatment is not done in the correct way because of AI, we have nowhere to go. There is nothing, there is no court, there is no IPC law today which enables us to fight against it. So that is what I would just like to say. But yeah, leveraging AI is a good thing, but at a certain extent where everybody is aware of it, and we take some, and as I said that, yeah, we should be ethical about it.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So to answer Subhash your question, yes, there are like in any domain, if you go, right, we do have certain, right, QA testing approaches, right? So and those are, there are certain generic tests, right, and there are some very specific tests. Generic test which is applicable for all type of industry, and whenever you are going to a kind of healthcare agents, etc., there are some specific test cases which cannot match the other things, right? Now, naming few of them, like symptom triage accuracy, clinical guidance, like as Sujoy just mentioned, like clinical guidance adherence, correct response to patients' queries, drug interaction alerts, allergy alerts, appointment scheduling, and many other things. Now, if you talk about a little bit of regulatory, which we already discussed about, right, HIPAA, which is very much used in USA, GDPR, right, which is for the data privacy security, right, data subject right consent captures, which is majorly used in the European Union, and again FDA, right, which is again used in USA if the agent qualifies as a software, right, as a medical device. So and apart from that, there are a lot of non-functional, right, NLP, right, typical AI related tests are also there, right? So answer is yes, we do have, right, lot of healthcare specific, even if you don't use AI, but even if you are trying to automate something, forget about AI. Like earlier, before AI, we used to see a lot of automation, right? So even if you're trying up with a lot of automation, clinical automation, etc., we were using those things. So those are still there, but yeah, those are evolving in the era of AI. Yes, Prashant, please go ahead.
Yeah, Subrata. So I don't have any question, but I would just like to add on something. So it's not basically related only to the healthcare domain, but to every domain, maybe to every IT industrialist or anyone who is planning to use AI, right? Because that is gonna be a future, right? So what I'm trying to say here is basically AI will predict the things for you. AI will generate the things for you. That is for sure. But it is basically human judgment and human intelligence that should come in to validate whatever is generated or predicted by the AI.
Correct.
Because that is something which is going to the need of the hour. Like if you see right now, if you do some search on Google as well, the first suggestion it gives is basically through its Gemini, integration. So AI is coming up everywhere, but it is just a human judgment that needs to come up to validate those generative and predictive prompts which is coming in from AI. That's what I just wanted to summarize.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone has any other question?
Yeah, hi, this is Dola here. So I have a question, because Meenakshi comes from the specific Salesforce technology. So, and we see Salesforce is coming up with a lot of offerings, right? Specifically Salesforce Einstein for AI, which is, which has a lot of enhanced features, especially for healthcare. And the customers, every other day we see, keep on asking what kind of Einstein AI offerings or use cases you can help us with, right? So the POCs or the pilots are very promising, quite successful outcomes, but the actual implementation, we don't see, that it really sees the light of the day, right? So what exactly are the challenges that you see or hear from the customer, which is not, enabling such a high-end technology also becoming successful?
Definitely. Thanks, Tola, for asking at least some questions from my native domain. Yes. If we talk about from healthcare domain, then I must say that Salesforce has offerings for healthcare domain. Like it has released a health cloud, it has released a hospital cloud, everything.
Correct.
So that, and I had once I had the chance to work on a POC, which you said on which was also integrating AI and healthcare domain there. But yes, from challenges that we were actually making a chatbot for the health cloud, but as I said that there can be many sorts of when as an engineer, when we are feeding data, then we are held responsible for making it absolutely accurate, and to the extent of our knowledge we can do it when we think that this is accurate, acceptable, and should be done without any faulty result, right? So that responsibility lies with us, as we are making it sellable for the customer who are paying us. But there is the challenge of having this knowledge, because probably I have created a chatbot which is having X number of data, and it is answering to its patients, to its customers to a certain extent. But what if comes from beyond those set of knowledge? So there the issue came, and there we were actually honestly, when we showed the POC to the customer, they didn't even have the answer. That we said that this is our set of knowledge which is mostly provided by the customer and that we have fed. But what if something comes beyond that? Then our knowledge is restricted. Then we can't go publishing anything and everything available in AI. We have to limit our knowledge to the extent where it is regulated, it is it is true ethical. So that is the probably I'll say the biggest challenge, that the knowledge, limit of knowledge, where when I implemented or not implemented, I developed the POC for a health cloud customer.
Thanks, Meenakshi. I think, yes, very correct. The POCs are relying on a defined set of data, right? A curated set of data. But in the actual implementation, when it happens with the large hospitals or healthcare companies, they are often either integrating it with their existing legacy systems, or a lot of siloed data across different EHR systems, right? And which is why I think there is a lot of inconsistency and incorrectness probably. So it will evolve as it learns more, right? Or integrates more, probably.
Especially when you are making a chatbot which is available for their patient pool.
Correct.
I mean, that into that context, many a times it happens that they say that we need to look into this, we need to look into this, but this can't be recurrent, and this is will not give a good picture for that hospital industry or that particular healthcare professional.
True. Yeah. Thanks, Meenakshi.
Thank you so much. It was so engaging discussion today, right? Apart from the content, we heard like a lot of expert view, and that is the power of this knowledge sharing. Thank you, Sujoy. Thank you, Prashant. Thanks, Dola, and others like those, and Shubhra, of course, asking those very valid questions. So and of course, we would love to have all of you in our upcoming sessions, right? To enlighten us, right, with your knowledge, etc. And we will grow and we will learn, right, collectively. Thank you so much. Next weekend also, we are going to come up with a very interesting session, which is little different, which is going to be taken care by Sukanya Bhadra, right? She's going to bring us that Tara framework, right, along with AI, right? So the anxiety, etc., etc. How can we deal with this anxiety, insecurity in the AI domain, right? Where all of us are kind of anxious. So we are waiting for that, and then we'll probably take 1 or 2 weeks of gap because of Durga Puja, and then we'll again resume. Thank you so much, and we'll meet again.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Shubhabrata.